Crowdfunding platforms such as Kickstarter, Indiegogo, and Fig have become popular ways for developers to fund their video games because they can go straight to the fans for money rather than having to explain to publishers why a game about a skeleton in a hoodie will be popular, actually. The problem is that if you want to make a lot of money, people are going to expect something in return, and not just the video game you're trying to fund. That's how we end up with the ridiculous, bizarre, and downright lavish Kickstarter rewards we saw in our last video on this subject and in these 7 examples taken from our favorite comments on that video. Enjoy!
今回プラチナゲームズは初めて自社パブリッシュに挑戦します。我々はパブリッシャーではなくディベロッパー、一開発会社なので、そこにはいろんな困難があります。ぜひそこに皆さんの協力をいただいて、101を最新プラットフォームに届けたいと考えています。
Legendary game director Hideki Kamiya is a man known for 2 things: creating amazing games like Devil May Cry and Bayonetta, and just absolutely owning people on Twitter. One of Kamiya's recent games was the well-received The Wonderful 101, an action game in which you control a horde of superheroes who can morph together into different forms to battle aliens, I think. I played it and I'm still not 100% sure.
Feel the sting of my Valiantium blade!
While the Wonderful 101 was good, it was also on the Wii U, a console that, according to my notes, was owned by negative 36 people. As such, when the Switch came out and people actually bought it, Kamiya fans started asking when the game would get a Switch port so that they could actually play it. So Kamiya and the team at Platinum Games turned to Kickstarter to get the money for the Switch port, with a pitch video that explained a lot about Kamiya's combative attitude on social media, if this is the sort of thing he's having to deal with on a daily basis in the office.
The Wonderful 101は滅びる運命なのだ。一生懸なぞ絶対に許さん。Blocking. Head. Buster!
The Kickstarter itself featured plenty of tiers, stretch goals, and rewards, but for the low price of 11,000 yen, you could secure your place in social media infamy with the Blocked by Kamiya reward, where Kamiya would tweet at you and then block you forever. The campaign only finished recently, so the Wonderful 101 isn't out on Switch yet, but presumably, Kamiya can take as long as he wants, because how are people going to complain? Tweet at him? Hideki Kamiya is a genius, is what I'm saying.
今回はこの Kickstarter のプロジェクトを矢野さんとご一緒することによって、初めてですね実現するチャンスを得たと思います。どうかぜひですね、参加していただいて私たちと一緒に楽しんでいただければと思います。
Project Rap Rabbit was to have been a rhythm action game from the developers of Parappa the Rapper about a rapping bunny, a combination even more impressive when you learn it was set in 16th century Japan, some 400 years before hip-hop was actually invented. The game was to take the form of rap battles against evil animal overlords, which gave you multiple choices on how to respond to a rival rapper's rhymes, spread over 3 phases. Listen, in which you listen to your opponent's verse.
Before all addicts, you just a puny rabbit, a trespasser, bad habit. I'm living it up by dream hanging. Oh wait, that's my 3-star bold appetite.
Respond, in which you used a Mass Effect style conversation wheel to choose how to reply, and Rap, in which you hit buttons in time, Parappa style, to spit hot fire about frogs or whatever. Unfortunately, Project Rap Rabbit fell well short of its £855,000 Kickstarter goal, and so the game was shelved, presumably indefinitely, which is a shame because it means that whoever the one person is who pledged for the heavy petting reward tier ended up empty-handed. Much less gross than it sounds, this tier would actually have allowed you to immortalize your beloved pet in the game as a character on one of the stages. Your pet's name would also be included in the lyrics, and you'd receive a framed and signed portrait of you and your pet in the game's lovely art style. Just think, your beloved dog or cat or turtle could have been the next Karate Onion, or driving instructor Moose, or pawn shop owning frog. How can you put a price on that? I mean, I don't know for sure, but I also know that they did, and it was £4,000. Money well spent, if you ask me.
So if you liked what you saw and the idea of large medieval open world RPG, please support us. We believe there are many people who would like to play the game, but it's simply not possible with traditional publishers, so we cannot do it without your help.
Medieval surf simulator Kingdom Come Deliverance is a game that prides itself on its historical accuracy. Imagine Skyrim, but set in actual 1403 in actual Bohemia, and with all the orcs, elves, and giant cats replaced with period-accurate clothing, weapons, and buildings. Wait, come back. Unfortunately for the developers, another harsh reality they had to face were the financial costs associated with developing a vast, sprawling RPG filled with dialogue trees and branching storylines, which is why they turned to Kickstarter looking for the money to finish development. Fans keen to spend some cash to immerse themselves in the kind of medieval times that don't come with dinner and a jousting show could pick from a wide array of rewards, including art books, t-shirts, and dice and coin sets. Those with deep pockets, however, could go all out and purchase Sainthood. For £5,000, the Saint tier of the Kingdom Come Kickstarter provided everything a well-off medieval enthusiast could want, including a hand-painted decorative shield, a real, honest-to-goodness hand-and-a-half sword, and a visit to the studio, probably to do medieval activities like quaff mead or die of scrofula.
Oh, sweet Mary, Mother of God. I can't bear the pain.
The best part, though, was that you would be immortalized as a saint in the game. Paintings in churches with your likeness on would appear in-game, as well as statues of you looking all beatific, probably with a plaque declaring it to be Saint Dave or whatever. Yes, £5,000 might seem like a lot of money, but considering that you usually have to be dead and responsible for 2 post-mortem miracles to achieve sainthood, I'd say it's a bargain. Shovel Knight is a charming game about a knight who has a shovel. Hence the name, I guess. A retro puzzle platformer with buckets of charm, Shovel Knight smashed its $75,000 Kickstarter goal, raising over $300,000 thanks, in no small part, to it being really, really good. I know wizards, but I can magic you now. Ha 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 ha. Who's the wizard now, jerks? What definitely helped, though, were the Kickstarter rewards, which included lovely hardcover art books, FaceTime with the dev team, and apparently a secret that only you will be told. I hope it's not how they came up with the name Shovel Knight, because I think I figured that out. Less impressive as a reward was the $101 tier entitled Super Deluxe Dirt. Signing up for this would entitle you to receive a hand-signed, wax-sealed envelope filled with official Shovel Knight dirt. The dirt apparently would be chosen at random and taken from each area of Shovel Knight's kingdom, such as gearwork dirt from the base of the Clockwork Tower and besmirched dirt from the Village of Plague. Fingers crossed not that one. Apparently, the idea was to originally ship actual dirt to people before everyone realised that was a bad idea, so this ended up being sand with things added to it to reflect different parts of the game, which is a lovely idea, but I remind you, you're still paying over $100 for an envelope full of sand. Oh, and the game, I guess. That's fair enough. It really is very good.
What I want to talk to you about today is a pinball table called the Twilight Zone. The Twilight Zone was created by Midway under the Bally license in the early 1990s. It is considered to be one of the greatest pinball tables of all time. In fact, right now, the Internet Pinball Machine Database ranks it #1 in user rankings of every pinball table ever created.
Imagine, if you will, a pinball table based on the legendary 1960s sci-fi series The Twilight Zone. Now imagine you don't have the rights to that pinball table, but really want to include it in your video game, which is a collection of classic pinball tables. That's the situation Farside Studios, the developers of the Pinball Arcade, were in when they turned to Kickstarter to try and raise the $55,000 they needed to license the Twilight Zone table for their pinball game. It was a big deal because the Twilight Zone table is renowned as being one of the best and most technologically advanced tables of all time, including, as it did, a real analog clock, a ceramic ball unaffected by magnets, and a gumball machine that can receive and dispense balls during play. Still, they needed the money to be able to go ahead, and as such, got maybe a bit desperate with the Kickstarter rewards. Most video game Kickstarters include a top reward tier where you, the backer, get to go visit the developers to see where they make the game, hang out, and maybe make some awkward conversation over coffee in the staff canteen. With the Twilight Zone Pinball Kickstarter, the top tier reward was the other way around, and involved the entire development team flying to your house to host a virtual pinball tournament for you and your friends, complete with goodies and prizes.
You just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
Now, I'm not saying they didn't think this through, but I think we can probably be grateful that no one ended up backing this tier, because I've watched enough Twilight Zone to know that the whole team travelling to an unknown location for money to meet a pinball-obsessed superfan only ends one way. Them all trapped in a giant pinball machine, and Rod Serling delivering a monologue about man's hubris. Dodged a bullet, Farsight. Homestuck is a super popular webcomic about a group of teenagers who inadvertently bring about the end of the world by installing a beta version of an upcoming computer game. It's notable in part for its extreme length at over 8,000 pages and its influence on, among other creators, Toby Fox, the mind behind the similarly popular Undertale. In 2012, plans surfaced for a Homestuck video game, with creator Andrew Hussey turning to Kickstarter for funding. A smart move, seeing as the comic's hardcore fanbase pledged the required $700,000 in less than 32 hours, and just under $2.5 million by the time the campaign ended. The top-tier reward for the Homestuck game Kickstarter was a fan's dream come true. For $10,000, fans would have their own original characters, known in the Homestuck world as fan trolls, canonized and included in the actual Homestuck comic itself. Jokingly, a caveat was added that the two backers who picked this tier would have to pledge over $100,000 to have their characters survive for more than one panel. A fun joke that everyone enjoyed until the characters actually appeared in Homestuck for one panel before their planet was obliterated and they were killed, never to return. Look, if you can think of a better use for $10,000, I'd like to hear it.
Yellow.
Kevin, it's your old pal, Trevor Furman.
Oh my lord, if it ain't my old pal Trevor Furman. How you doing, sir?
I got an idea. You ever think about putting Jay and Silent Bob in a video game?
Dude, I was born on Friday, but it wasn't last Friday. Every livelong day I've been alive, I think about putting Jay and Silent Bob in one of them video games. Let me tell you. Let me ask you something, Trevor Furman. What the is a video game anyway?
People who enjoyed movies in the 90s will remember Jay and Silent Bob, the stoner duo who popped up in most of director Kevin Smith's films to make weed jokes and philosophize at Ben Affleck. Obviously, getting a Jay and Silent Bob game made via conventional means would be nigh on impossible on account of all the drug use and swearing and having reached the peak of their popularity in 1995. But crowdfunding and nostalgia are a powerful mix, which is why the video game Jay and Silent Bob, Chronic Blunt Punch, was able to raise $445,000 on Fig. The game, which is still in development, is a colourful, frantic 2.5D brawler set in a mall full of flamboyant enemies, but for some fans, the lure wasn't the game itself, but rather the chance to appear in Kevin Smith's next film as an extra, an exclusive top-tier reward that would only cost you $10,000 US. You know, they usually pay people to be extras in films, not the other way around. Also, this campaign launched in 2016, and Smith's next film was Yoga Hosers, a movie described by the AV Club as close to unwatchable. When I said I wanted to hear a better use of $10,000, this isn't it. There you have it, those were some more weird and wonderful Kickstarter rewards for backers with more money than sense. If you missed the first video like this we did, check out the link on screen right now to give it a watch, and if you've got any more favourites we missed, let us know in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more videos like this from Outside Xbox, and thanks for watching.